Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Keep it twisted, brother. I'm Slidewhistle.
It's me, Immunization. Hello.
Finest hops, memorable quality, legendary taste. Founder solid gold. I assume we were just opening up the show by reading off whatever was on our beer.
Oh, well, I made a mixed drink, so I guess what's on mine, it is in a Mercy from Overwatch cup, so that she's on it.
Where'd you get that, friend?
I got it a few years ago.
Blizz stuff?
No, it's not. I got it a few years ago at C2E2, Chicago's Comic Con, basically. It was some vendor that has like these pint glasses that are like laser engraved with different like characters.
Ooh, more like C2E2, because I don't like Mercy. My name's Aaron, and I keep it real. Fireman extraordinaire and Horde, punch a break.
He's always said that he's worried it's gonna break, and then he proceeds to like kick it several times by accident.
Why isn't it breaking?
I mean, I know I foresee myself accidentally breaking it in the future, and I think because I'm thinking that way, I just like it's gonna happen someday, and because it's my favorite cup.
You just accidentally knock it off the counter, and you just hear like, "I need some healing, please, over here."
Mata.
Fall back. Speaking Mata, how was Father's Day? You guys do anything fun with your daddies?
Yeah, I called him.
Yeah, I called my father as well.
Nice. I ate a lot of fruits. He said, "Come over and let's eat watermelon." And then I showed up and he said, "I bought too much fruit." So we all ate fruit for like 3 hours, and then I went home and pooped, and that was the most clean and naturalistic doo-doo of my life.
You guys just ate fruit because he bought too much.
We did. He was like, "I got 2 watermelons because we were going to eat melons." But then I figured, what if people don't like watermelons? So I got strawberries. But what if they don't like that? So I got blueberries. At the end of the day, he was like, "Do you guys want some berries?" And we were like, "Oh, fine." And he was like, "Please, we actually have no room.
Please take them home. Please, I beg of you."
So what did you end up winning in the Dad Fruit Prize Awards?
Well, you tell you what, I won some strawberries, some cherries, some blueberries, but I lost a quarter of a melon. I love my dear old mom as she floats in Cedar Triumvirate. She did a hack job on that thing.
Oh.
How am I supposed to how am I supposed to eat this, Mom?
She just like a hacksaw to it and said, "Oh, he'll figure it out."
Yeah, she just hit that thing with a big old kniff 4 to 5 times and said, "I don't know. We'll split this to the 4 C's."
And then she chimed a couple of jingles.
You know who else was saying that they should split something in equal 4 parts?
What?
Who?
Moira Thaurassian.
Ooh. Yes, the brand new story, The Lilac and the Stone. I'm sorry, is the Voices Within part of it, or is that just the name of this, like, mini-series?
I believe that, like, the book overall is called The Voices Within, and all of the ones that we've been reporting on so far are short stories that are part of it, I think.
Oh, are these are the ones that are going to be in the book?
That was my interpretation. Slide, what do you know?
Yeah, these are the ones that are in the book, right?
Oh, well, dang,
sure.
save myself $35. If you're already giving me the goods for free, why am I going to go to the cow?
Yeah, I guess I really don't understand that logic either. I mean, I guess it's the idea that they don't want to price gate the story because people complain about that, but then they don't read it anyway and still complain about it.
I guess. Or maybe it's like, well, we released 5 of them, but we got 7 humdingers that are still in there.
I will say I did like this one so far the most out of like the 4 that I've read. Are there more coming? There's more coming, right? Or is this it?
I don't know. I would put it as my second favorite. I still think the Anduin one is my favorite, but I did really enjoy this one.
Yes, I said to myself, I must be prepared. This cannot be a return of my Gazlo story experience where I just kind of looked at big, important, capitalized words. So I said, I need to read this, but it's so long and I'm tired from working, so I'm going to hand it off to my favorite vague Eastern Bloc content creator, Noble.
Oh, does he have a review of it?
He just reads the darn thing. And so I got The Lilac in the Stone as I was sleepy from work with his lovely Scandinavish tones. And I hate to tell you, I did fall asleep. And so the back half of the story was delivered to me via Nightmare Noble.
Oh, that's the best part. The back half is super good. Was he doing voices? Was he doing like, hey, it's me, Moira?
Well, here's the thing. No, he wasn't doing voices. But what we lack in Scottish voice, we gain in Scavinish. So I felt like still I was experiencing something new. Like, it wasn't my friend Dave being like, I think we should split the cup into 4 parts. It was like, the cup, it needs to be split amongst the craggy cliff.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that feels that. I mean, like, with all the crazy names the dwarves got going on, I bet, yeah, it probably fit very nicely.
Of course, the beginning where they're saying all the bits about, like, the darkness of the grim rock stone. And I was like, this is really good.
So if you didn't read this, which I'm assuming a lot of you didn't, this is a good one. So it starts off with, like, the dwarves have basically found, like, an ornate shield out in the Badlands.
Yeah, and basically all types of dwarves find some kind of interest in it because it has symbols and gems and the straight up, like, different types of iron or steel that each of the different, like, clans would consider their own. So you have the Bronzebeards, the Dark Irons, and the Wildhammers all being like, we deserve to have this shield because of it being made of, part of it's made of bronze, or part of it's made of gold, or part of it's made of whatever. And then they're like, these runes look like our, I guess, do dwarves like have like a runic language? Is that what they have?
Yes.
Yeah, so like basically all of them say, this, we deserve to have this. So they've all been coming to meet up to discuss who should have it.
I love that the Wildhammers were like, it's got half a lion on it. That's ours, right? Like, guys.
Yeah. It's like there's an eagle and there's a lion. Look at our guys. They're eagle lions. Come on.
Give it to us.
It's also wild that the Wildhammer, like, want things. I felt like with their nomadic, like, natural lifestyle, they would have been like, we're staying out of politics. So it's funny to be like, no, we want stuff.
They didn't want the other ones to have it, probably, those little greedy bastards.
I was gonna say, it's basically like our cats, where like one of them gets jealous when the other one has something or is sitting in a spot or laying in a spot that they want to be in, and they have to have it because, you know, it's less so that they want it and more so that they don't want the other one to have it.
Bastards.
But yeah, this story is told through the point of view of Moira, and I feel like the entire tone of it's really interesting and something that, like, I don't know, that, like, I never really thought about. She's, like, just overall very bitter and basically just, like, paints her dad as a really bad father and person, even.
Yeah, there was a particular line, granted, once again, Noble was, I only know the first half because I fell asleep, but there was a part where it's like, we were in the halls that Dagran and I intended to fill with dozens of children before, you know, and I was like, ugh, sorry.
Yeah, before your dad came and killed him.
Yeah, but, like, besides the fact that, like, Magni did that, she's also just bitter that she basically said that, like, Magni never wanted her, never respected her just because she's a woman, basically. And I was like, huh. I mean, so, like, this entire book was basically just about how sexist the dwarves are.
Well, and, like, we knew that part because there was that other short story when Moira was first being reintroduced. Was it the BFA, maybe? When she was like, you never wanted me, Dad. And he was like, I'm sorry. God, I said it. I'm sorry.
I'm a Crystal. Come on. Stop kicking your old dad while he's down.
It's all about me.
It's giving me the energy of how, like, when parents become grandparents and then all of a sudden they pretend to be, like, saintly. Literally, he's like, I'm a granddad now. I'm literally made of crystals. I can't be bad.
Look how shiny I am, Dagran. Don't listen to what your ma tells you. Just remember how shiny I am. I'm friends with a giant woman. Would a bad guy be friends with a big lady?
I could even let you meet her, huh?
oh, and then that becomes a point where it's like, Granddad, let me meet the big woman. That was the maiden of virtue, you bastard. You didn't even let him meet Mother. She was busy, okay?
So they're fighting over the shield, and Moira is basically like, well, my son's got to do this because it's basically time. But also, before we get to that, I love how she has this like little old lady spy master that she does hand signals with.
Yeah, so her name's Angrid, and she's just like this elderly attendant, or I guess kind of like maid or like butler type figure that, you know, obviously the other head dwarves don't respect because she is a woman, but also because she's serving them food. And
she's also incredibly old. It said that her back had been cameled with time, so it's just this very unsightly woman. So it's like, I don't see you doing spy stuff. I don't want to look at you.
Not only that, she also was referred to as a spinster, a word I just recently learned that meant unbetrothed woman, lady bachelor in a bad way.
Yeah, she's no good. What's the point if she's not popping out little dwarves?
Yeah, so they like clank on plates and scratch their bellies like good old sign language to just speak full sentences to each other.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too, because basically Moira said in her internal dialogue that like she's had to be crafty to prove her worth that way, basically, because like these other men on the council or like other male dwarves in general never respected her, so she had to craftily work her way into everyone's respect, basically.
It feels like real Dark Iron shit.
Yeah, so as Slide said also, like beyond just all of these dwarves convening to decide what happens to the shield, they're also convening basically to keep tabs on Dagran, because it's basically an unspoken thing that he is approximately the age at which he is like expected to ascend to the throne, effectively. And it's even more of a big deal because he technically could claim heir to 2 of the throne spots, because he's both Dark Iron and Bronzebeard.
All he has to do is gay marry a Wildhammer, and he's got all 3 right there. Probably edit this out, but fag stat.
Boo! You can say it because I think it was an attempt at a joke, but boo! Everyone's booing you.
But yeah, so basically everyone's like, yeah, that little loser's not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, even Moira is like, yeah, Dagran, the love of my life, that fucking nerd.
Which, yeah, to be fair, looking at Dagran's model, doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me. It's hard to do without being like a gnome or like one of the little guys, but that's a dork. That's a fucking dorkatron.
Yeah, to the point that he like purposely skipped the first dinner that they attended because he was doing research. And Moira like came to him after the dinner and was like, hey, tomorrow, like for the first meal, like you need to be there. Like they expect you to be there. They like it's your time, son.
I do love that immediately his demeanor changed from like, yes, I've been doing research to, oh no.
Yeah, and Moira also just says like in her internal dialogue that like she like kind of raised him the complete opposite way that like Magni raised her.
We have purposely trained him wrong, as a joke.
She's just kind of like, yeah, do your own thing. Like I like, there's no expectations of you to be like a strong macho man. And like because of that, Moira's also felt guilty that she hasn't prepared him for this, I guess.
She's basically had him scrubbing floor. She said he scrubbed the floors till he bled of their summer estate. So like he does like non-traditional role things. He's baking bread, he's cleaning tables. Men don't do that. That's for the womans.
You're gay! He's gay! I'm not gay.
Yeah, and then even outside of gender roles, him just studying or like wearing glasses is just like non-dwarven, even like is described as.
Yeah.
The lore keeper's library is purely for show. We just needed to make a cool room for that guy who has artifacts to stand in.
I love that dwarves don't wear glasses because they're too proud to say they have bad eyes. Someone's got to talk to the dwarves. Like, you help them out a little bit.
The wild hammers are allowed to fly around and throw hammers. How many of those guys need spectacles?
Okay, but could you imagine wild hammers with their wild face paint and feathers wearing, like, Benjamin Franklin spectacles as they ride the griffins? No.
I don't know, get them some contacts or something.
Rock tacks. You just stick some crystals. They can, like, stick thin crystals in their eyes.
Or just jam big crystals in their eyes and they can't see, but they look extra sparkly. So the Horde guys are like, we don't want to mess with that.
Real fucking intimidating shit.
But, like, my favorite line of this entire short story is, like, at the end of this encounter where Moira's like, son, you need to, like, show up tomorrow. She was like, Dagran, the time for learning is over. And, like, his response is, like, the nerd burgliest thing ever. I picture him, like, putting his finger on the bridge of his glasses, pushing it up, and, like, basically being the nerd glasses emoji, being like, actually, mother, the time for learning is never over.
The gnomes are gonna love this guy. But she said that she's never seen him mad, and in that moment, he, like, Arthur hand-fisted, the time for learning's never over. Like, the only thing that makes him mad is book shit.
But yeah, basically, it was revealed that he'd been studying this shield. Like, that was what that whole thing was about. And then the next day starts, and Moira is nervous for her son. She approaches Angrid before, I guess it was like breakfast time, or like the first meal of the day that they were supposed to meet, and Dagran was supposed to take the throne, or whatever you want to call it. And Angrid is like, oh, I didn't even have to set anything up. And then it's revealed that Dagran, I guess, got there early and set up the entire banquet, because as Slide said, Moira had basically trained him in all the arts of non-traditional gender role things.
Okay, I had to reread that line, because at first I thought Angrid said, there's nothing left for me to eat. And I thought all the male dwarves ate all the food, and I was like, damn, that's fucked up.
We need to get big and strong and get lots of energy for war and man stuff.
Poor Angrid.
Ladies can get the crumbs for sweeping. That's why they sweep them up to eat them.
Just their meal. But so, like, Dagran is sitting at the table, he's ready to lead, and he fucking does, like, he, like, touches his belt, and he does Moira and Agrid's, like, little secret sign language symbols saying, like, don't worry, I got this. And Moira's like, I never even taught anybody that. Like, this guy's just fucking using his big glasses to observe everybody's hand movements and just imitating everything he sees. So he's a quick learner, this little bookworm.
Yeah, again, nerd alert.
Wee woo, wee woo.
He had a lot of time to sit there as a baby, but until he spontaneously became a young adult to just sit there and watch her and Angrid talk. It's like, you may have thought that I was a mere 2 months old for 15 years, but I was developing my brain power.
Let's see Moozy do that shit.
Moozy won't be able to see shit from the inside of my stomach.
Yeah.
Hashtag eat Moozy.
Hashtag eat 'em.
You know, this is in the footnotes of this short story, but actually when Dagran was preparing the feast, he actually served up a appetizer course of Moozy. So
Well, that makes sense, because if you read the afterword, his mom says, have you seen my Moozy?
they're like, we ate him for the appetizer.
Where were we? We were talking about, okay, yeah,
That
Dagran.
joke only gets more obscure as we continue. Any of you new guys remember High Mountain Legion questing?
Well, we for sure do. We at least joke about it.
So yeah, I say I'm depending on you guys for this next bit because
so
I
this
was in
is
the
where-
dream world. Noble was haunting me at this point.
This was so this was like when it got interesting, because basically Dagran was like, he was legitimately like leading. He started off by saying, you're all idiots. Or what did he say, morons? Fools. You're all fools, is what he said to this table of fat dwarfed men immediately.
And then they get angry at being called fools, of course. And then Dagran's like, sorry if I hurt your feelings. And then they get even more angry that he called it feelings. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Would you rather me call it honor? It's basically the same thing.
So Dagran is fake. Basically, he's exactly what we need. He's a sassy bitch. He's cutting them with words, and they don't even like understand what he's saying, really.
Yeah, but then he basically reveals that he said he called them fools because he has effectively learned how to read the script that is on the shield. And it was tripping him up because it's actually a weird combination. Like, within the same words, they use letters from, like, all of the different clans' ancient texts. So, like, it's a combination of, like, all of their languages in one. So, like, it was harder to interpret. But it basically, he reads it. He's like, this is actually, like, an incantation, or, like, the shield is actually, it's not an actual weapon type shield because it's decorative and memorial.
I think it's sick that he basically knows every single Azerothian language, including the dead languages. Like, how many people have that feat to their name? Probably none of them, right? Like, nobody does that because he's a fucking book nerd studying all the books.
Yeah, Azeroth does not strike me as a very learned populace unless you're in the Explorers Guild or like the Kirin Tor or something. I think your average Stormwind Guard prides himself on how little he knows.
Which is crazy because, like, if you're trying to figure out who to give the shield to, wouldn't you want to fucking study it to figure out who gets it? Like, so basically that's what Dagran does, and he's like, the language is not existent. The runes are all like they're something weird. He's like this shield is damaged, right? And then he pulls out Explorers League tools and he matches them into the symbol. Says, look, the Explorers League did this. They try to be careful, but they don't know. They're not always careful. Blasting his Uncle Bran.
Yeah, so it was revealed, like, basically he was like, yeah, y'all, this is a decorative shield. Like, he's like, pull out all your weapons right now. The marks on here, obviously it's not from any of the main things. There's literally gems on it. So if it was ever in battle, these gems would not be intact still.
Just like basic shit. Like, look at it. And then he's like, wait, he does like the spell, or is that at the very end when he does the spell?
No, this is the time when he's like, I'm gonna read this now, and it was basically revealed that like the text was like a spell of sorts, and he reads it. I don't remember exactly what it said, but to paraphrase it, it basically calls them all fools, or says you guys will be fools if you resort to fighting each other again.
Yeah, so he says you're all fools. You're all fools. You're all fools. And then the blood that was on it, or the paint, whatever was on it, it like rushes off of it. It like cleans itself off of the shield. And they're like, whoa, what is that? Well, this guy knows what he's doing. He's cracked the spell.
Yeah, so and then he basically has his like mic drop moment where then at the end he's like, yeah, so I've cracked the code. Are you guys all going to be fools, or are you going to follow in my, like, basically follow me and rebuild our trust of each other? And then he walks out, and then he as he's walking out, he like does his hand motion to his mother, being like, follow me out now.
Don't turn around.
He goes and does the DX crotch chop. It's like, oh, I know what that means.
So they walk out together, whatever, and he's basically telling Laura like more of it, because like the people who are at the table, they don't really understand the intricacies of anything. They just want to fight because I guess they're dwarves. Dwarves are gonna fucking drunkenly brawl, and they're mad that they're never allowed to drunkenly brawl. So once again, they're denied that, and he basically tells Moira that it's an artifact of the three clans made back in time when they war once three clans as like a warning to the dwarfs of the future, because they knew that they were going to fight, to just be like, look we just got to stay united. And then it's like double revealed, because like Mori already knew what he was doing, but he used a blood spell. He has like blood magic abilities. So when he was reading the you're all fools, he like tricked them, and that was his own doing. He made that shit up.
Yeah, he was like, LOL, Mom, I basically had to pull a little bit of blood magic out to get their attention, because, like, linguistics, exciting to me, but to them, they need a little flash.
And then Moira was, like, in her head, this was her inner dialogue, she was like, I don't want to tell him that that's something I did when I was young, because I don't want to steal his moment. But she's, like, basically, like, proud in her head that, like, he's just like her in doing that. And then he's like, well, Mom, aren't you going to tell me you're proud of me for being just like you? And then she's like, oh, shit, he knows.
Yeah, she like, in her mind, she's like, I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to make this about me. And then Dagran's like, make this about you. Make this about us. Say you're fucking proud of me, Mom.
So like, I don't know, Dagran seems pretty sick. Like seeing that model, like Aaron said, like he's a fucking little weak nerd burglar who doesn't know what he's doing. No, this is a learned boy who's using his shit, and he kind of has like a pretty good head of like knowing what he's doing with stuff.
So like, what was interesting to me, is I feel like there's definitely a parallel here between Dagran and Anduin. Like, I feel like they're very similar in a lot of ways, in the sense that like they are very different than their parents, who would ideally rule with more of like an iron fist, and they're just more interested in like learning or exploring, and they don't care about like war or things. Obviously Anduin's entered a new phase of his life, but like I feel like at Dagran's age, he'd be very similar to him.
It's such a shame that Emperor Thracian was never able to threaten to kill Anduin when he was a child, so that the favor could be returned. Because let us not forget that Varian straight up held a knife on this Dagran and been like, "I'll gut it like a pig if you don't return my boy, Moira." And she was like, "Oh my god!"
Okay, so I was trying to think. Like, obviously I don't remember that well because we weren't playing then, but wasn't like Dagran Thaurassian II super evil? Like, and Moira's like pining about like how like she misses him.
I hate to say, he was the leader of the Dark Irons who were committed to evil cause. Like, he was a villain, yes. I guess,
right? Okay, but
he would have been evil.
Well,
but we could have let her stay with him and then just killed her when we did the thing. Like that would have been, I guess, the only way where everyone wins.
Because I'm trying to remember, obviously he had the 7 dwarfs of anger, hate rel and love rel or whatever. But she said, Moira said in the book that she helped Dagran with his wish to free the Dark Irons from Ragnaros. So like he wanted to break free from Ragnaros, but was it to break free from Ragnaros to kill the other dwarves? Like, I don't remember the second half.
No, I mean, that's exactly the thing. I'm like, okay, like, Moira, you, like, thought he was hot or something. Just say that. Like, obviously, like, I think this is the correct timeline. I feel like he had to die, right?
I think so. I'm like, I've been trying to read his wiki page, but, he actually has kind of a lot of information there, which is, surprising.
Kind of an important guy.
This is why I'm confused, because Moira said that it was his wish to be free from Ragnaros, but here on his page it says he's notorious for pledging the Dark Iron Clan in service to Ragnaros, who was his ancestor summoned. But it says his allegiance to the Fire Lord led to his eventual downfall when he was killed by the forces of Alliance sent by Magni. So,
well, I mean, also in this short story, Moira basically said that it was all her doing that she saved the Dark Iron from their allegiance to Ragnaros.
But I swear she said that it was his desire to be free from Ragnaros. Was this like secret pillow talk that we didn't know about? Oh, Moira, I really regret doing that pact.
He'd say anything after she served him up that hot slice of ass.
Maybe she did. Maybe he just knew what to say to get her off.
Oh, when we're gonna leave Ragnaros. Oh. You got right to me molten core, Thracian. He's like, ha 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 ha. Just kidding. As he's doing the Patrick Bateman thing. As he's pumping away, he turns to his framed portrait of Ragnaros. He's like, just kidding.
Okay, so this is crazy that we're getting the Hearthstone flavor text, but Hearthstone flavor text says his second greatest regret is summoning an evil Fire Lord who enslaved his entire people. So maybe it was like more of a forced thing that you can't get out of it now because it's a pact, so you got to go with it. But you wish you were free, but you can't be free. Who knows?
I just think he was. I think it was said in a moment of post-nut clarity. You can't trust a man after he's gooped in your molten core.
We also did mention it, but we there was a part so they really wanted to drunkenly brawl, like in the first half of the story. They're like, we want to fucking fight. And Moira's like, I know why you don't want to fight, Moira, because you're going to lose. And then she fucking pulled out like a fork and stabbed a guy in his knee and twisted it.
Oh my God. That was, it was like, she stabbed him in his like knee and like twisted the tendon. And he was like, it was like he wouldn't scream because that's what girls do. But like he was like in sheer pain and everyone's like, oh, Thardrin, what a goofball. And it's like, oh.
I actually think it wasn't even like a fork or something. I believe she took like the sharpest crab pincer from like one of the plates and stabbed it into his thigh or something.
Fucking, she's a badass. That's so cool. She's like, yeah, bitch.
I need her out in the field doing stuff. She's doing work in these short stories, and then I go visit her, and she just kind of does idle pose 03.
She's got a kid now, you know. She can't be stabbing people in the knees all the time.
You know, this is the priest representation I needed.
Yeah, you guys are doing crazy shit over there.
When's Velen gonna stab someone? He's a nice peace-loving guy, but Moira set the tempo. Velen, what bodily harm are you gonna do to Officier Ratul? I feel like he deserves something.
Stab him over your big purple gems.
Exactly. Jam 2 gems up his butthole. Ratul, you deserve this.
For Rakish. So the Dagran and Anduin thing brings me to my next point. So there was some Illyria text that was changed due to backlash in the War Within, which by the way, we have a pre-patch date for potentially, right?
Yeah, so before we get into this text, I guess it's worth mentioning how so like earlier today, they basically announced that Guild, Realm, and Faction Transfer Services are retiring on July 22nd. And then, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's because we're getting cross-realm guilds in War Within. Which, personally, I was like, oh, wait, that's going to be a thing? I wasn't aware of this. I guess I had conveniently forgot that this was announced.
Yeah, because guilds are going to be cross-realm, which I also forgot they announced. But it's been so long since BlizzCon, and I feel like they just threw so much stuff at me that I just could not absorb it all.
It seems to be the theme of the episode, but I can assure you, when they announced that, I was asleep at the location. So I never knew.
Also, isn't it weird that they're retiring these on July 22nd? Just retire it now. Why let players buy them for the next month?
That's a very good
Blizz
point.
Wants money.
Some dummy's gonna fucking buy a guild faction transfer for no reason. Like, what?
Anytime you talk about, like, a game's being delisted or something, people rush out to be like, I gotta do this. I'm sure they can catch one or two people with this and get an extra $60.
You're right, though. Someone's gonna buy it and just hold it on their account to see what it does, like, after the fact. So if you're doing that, I mean, I don't know. I guess do what you want. But so if these are retiring on July 22nd, does that mean that's when War Within is coming out, or the pre-patches?
Yeah, so people are saying that this means that likely pre-patch is the following day, July 23rd, on the reset there on the Tuesday. And this also lines up with some other things that have kind of been that people have like seen in the beta, which I think as of last week, I don't know that we talked about it, but like people were surmising that, these things that we see in the beta mean that the War Within pre-patch has to be on or before July 30th. So this also lines up with that, which also lines up with it being like approximately a month before War Within actually gets released. I feel like a month of pre-patch sounds good, right?
Yeah, that's what Fireball's brother said.
Fireball's brother gets more and more legitimacy every day.
Fire bro, you know?
Fire older, bro.
So that's happening. Also, I didn't see this, but Amin told me this while I was playing Habba Hotel, which, by the way, they redid an old school RuneScape and they brought it back. That they are the warbands. On the warband screen, they've actually added some animation when you pick a warband character.
They heard my negativity and they heard me throwing piss and vinegar at the walls, and they said, fine. They stand up. But they stand up and they pull out the weapon, which I hate to say, still looks a little janky. I don't know how they would make it look better because it literally is just the weapon pull-out animation from the game, but it seems a little less cinematic than I'd like.
Well, Aaron, we're trying our best up here.
Ian?
All I'm saying, Ian, baby, and I'll yell extra loud so you can hear it in the vents, but when you showed it off at BlizzCon, someone was cooking up some bacon, someone was doing some laundry. You can just do that.
Honestly, though, like, just have them, like, can't you, I mean, I know it's harder than what we're suggesting to just be like, can't you just have them doing, like, a 10-frame, pick up a piece of shirt, put it on the line, do it again, like, 8 times in a row, just loop it.
Or even stuff that's already in the game. Have there be a target dummy and have one of them hit it. Everyone has an animation of hitting a target dummy. You don't even have to make any new things for that. Have someone just spinning their hands like you're making a thing on like the auction house. Come on.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is that like just have like when you like select one of them as if you're going to log in, just like you could just have like a spotlight go on them and then have them do a random emote. Like they could just dance or something.
Yeah.
Hit an anvil. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of things you can do. Maybe there's something we're missing. Maybe it's too intense on the main menu screen. I don't know. But we're getting there, it seems. There's also more news coming on Mythic affixes. So they probably heard the heap of complaints people had about, now everybody's going to want only mages. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, hero talent tuning. Nothing important. But yeah, so anyway, this brings me back. Illyria had a line that they changed already because of the negative feedback.
Yeah, so I have the original line pulled up here. So I guess in the max level war within campaign, Illyria makes this statement in quest text. She says, where once there was discord, there is now unity of purpose, no longer oath-sworn or unbound. Just as we can no longer be Horde or Alliance, we are all in this together as one.
Ooh.
And they updated this to read as follows after the community backlash. Now it reads as, it was a trial by fire, but you've proven that the Earthen of Dorne are ready for the war to come. Where once there was discord, there is now unity of purpose, no longer oath-sworn or unbound. They are united, just as we should be. We are all in this as together as one.
So Wildhead clarified, which I also think is a little interesting. They previously reported this, and then they said, as we said at the time, this was a very early version of what will become the final text, and it could still easily be changed. At that same time, there have been growing concerns about faction identity. This almost seems like Blizzard was like, you fucking better fix what you said about us.
Slide and I were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. And I swear, we've had NPCs talk like this before about the Horde and the Alliance. So I don't really think it was that big of a deal if she even said we should no longer be Horde and Alliance. I think that, like, depending on the context, she could just be saying, we can't be Horde and Alliance in this moment. We need to band together to fight this greater evil like we have done, like, in many of the previous expansions.
I disagree. I don't think anybody has said it so cut and dry before, because it does this. It ruffles feathers when it's said like this, that they're going to basically be getting rid of the factions.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, Khadgar literally left the game because he was annoyed by us.
Yes, that was the example I was going to say is, I feel like we've had nagging Nancy's, like Khadgar is famed to do, come at us and be like, we need to put aside faction imbalances. But then other characters have been like, what are you, my dad? And like, they leave. I feel like it would be a step too far to have Illyria, who willingly spent a million zillion years because she was like, I want to shoot more trolls in the neck, or more orcs in the heart. And to have her be like, the faction war was dumb and stupid.
Yeah, because what is her loyalty to the Horde?
I personally like this step where it's like, we should be, we aren't, but we should be better.
I think Blizzard tipped their hat a little bit here, because to have Illyria say this is kind of crazy to me. Yeah, it's alpha, so it could just be pretext placeholder to be replaced. But think about the faction leaders we're going to have. We have Anduin, who we know 100% will sell out an Alliance soldier to work with Bane, right? He has no problem working with Horde leaders if they will comply.
Actively dislikes the Alliance to go and kiss Horde.
We have Dagran.
He has a picture of Sylvanas in his locket still.
We have Dagran, up-and-comer bookworm, who knows all Azerothian languages. He will have no problem communicating in native tongue to the Horde, and he didn't seem like the kind of guy to be like, fuck you, Tauren.
Yeah, even the goblins now, as we've established, are like, hey, we are no longer the baddies.
I think it's coming. And I don't know how I feel. I mean, if it's good for the game, then maybe it's okay. We have fucking Dwarf Horde by this point. Like, I don't know. We're gonna have cross-faction, cross-server guilds. I think they're trying to just have more of the player base interacting with each other just so the game can continue to go on, even though the numbers for the game are fine. They're fucking in the 10 million.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine, Blizzard. You didn't have to turn into a cuck box. This is my turn. You've inconvenienced me one too many times. Now I'm a racist.
This woke Blizzard is trying to convince us that we should be cohabitating with these dirty mutters.
Put them in camps.
We already did in Warcraft 2. And
Bomb
you know what?
them.
They already did in Cataclysm.
But, looking at how the story's progressing, I could see if they really wanted to keep a strong narrative going, then you keep the two factions working side by side, because the game has never really experienced that before. Much like how the Dark Iron Dwarfs were just NPC enemy fodder for so long, and now not one but two of them are going to help lead the dwarves into a new age. So it is kind of compelling. And again, if they're getting player feedback, well, I guess they got it now and they hated it, but if people want it, I guess, who cares? We have fucking 6 Hordes in our guild by this point already.
We are 3 of probably the biggest Alliance homers that there are. I would ideally not interact with the Horde in my guild, but if that's where the story's going, it's whatever. I think, Slide, you nailed it, kind of, that a lot of this new generation of leaders on both sides are primed to, they're probably just going to straight up be an armistice, right? A full-on armistice where, there is no war, there's just full peace between the Horde and the Alliance, and, this is a slippery slope. Soon there'll be trolls and Stormwind.
If we map the leaders, the Night Elves, Chandris she was still there for a lot of the bad shit that happened to the Night Elves and the Orcs, but she's already proven that she's oh my god, Tyrande, chill out. You know what I mean? Trying to think, who else do we have? Well, we know that fucking bitch on the Horde side, that purple elf. What's her name? First Arcanist Arisara?
First Arcanist
She hates us, so.
If anything, I was trying to think.
We helped her.
If anything, there's more hate over there now. I feel like they've sanitized a lot of the Alliance, but you figure Talanji,
I was gonna say,
we haven't done anything for her since we came into her house and killed her dad.
Probably the Horde players that were mad about this line. We're probably the only 3 Alliance players that were no, fuck that. It's all 97% Horde players being rewrite that line now.
Well, if we know anything about my girl over there in Gilneas, we know that she doesn't like monsters because she refused to become one. So hopefully she can. But then at the same time, I guess she's got her damn dad being maybe we should open our hearts again. Ugh.
I think you're right. The Talanji's gotta be the one, stalwart holdout. Because, we killed her dad. How could she just be so chilled working with the Alliance? And she's had some lines already about it, but that's the one where I'm eesh.
But yeah, I feel she is probably the main one. Because even the council leading the undead, like
Shit.
some of them straight up should just be Alliance anyway.
I forgot. We got Kalia over there. Oh my god. It's definitely where it's going. High Mountain, Mela, whatever. Who's leading the Maghar?
Warlord Greya. Warlord Greya, she's another one. She could still be mean. Because if you remember, in BFA, she was like, we need to kill them all. When it was like, when Minister Zevling was like, I help the Alliance because I don't like what we're doing. Greya's like, I want to squish his head between my thighs. I want to chop his hands off. So I feel like she's a grade A dummy. If we need someone to... Well, the thing that stinks is she doesn't hold enough weight to continue the faction war.
Yeah.
If she was like, we should never work with the Alliance, Horde and Alliance would come together to kill her. Like, who even were you?
So then I'm thinking about the Alliance ones a little bit more. Like, so what is Jaina the leader of the Colterians? Jaina has proven that she is also very anti-Horde,
Jaina's
but
weak.
but she's also flip-flopped on it based on whoever is writing her character. So like they would switch that easily enough.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at a faction leader list and I'm very confused here. There's 2 different Drakthir leaders for Horde and Alliance. Is Wapedia trustworthy?
Yeah.
Because
no, it's Azergos and like Reddington.
I say this
right?
as a Drakthir main evoker. I only know Scale Commander Cinderthresh. Who the fuck is Scale Commander Azarathril?
He's ours.
What does he do?
Well, those are the
Nothing.
2 that you see at the beginning of when you first make an evoker. I think.
And then what does he do then?
Their only contribution is you ride the boat with them or you fly with them, and then you talk to them in pre-patch, and that's it. Otherwise, they sit in their visage forms and flirt with each other in like the 3rd inn.
So like if we're really talking, like the real leader of the evoker Drakthir or whatever is what, Scale Commander Emberthal? Like,
Huh. I'm just reading. Oh, was I confusing Cinderthresh for Emberthal? They look very similar. They were the same shit. They gotta put these guys in their human form. Because when they're all dragons, they all look the same. Well, downside the picture on Wapedia.
That's the whole thing. Scale Commander Emberthal said she does not want a human form.
But
right?
I'm looking at Cinderthresh, and Cinderthresh just looks to me like Emberthal in her dragon form.
Are vaguely red, and then I know that Azergos looks pretty much the same, but he's blue and he's slightly bigger. And when they're elves, it's 2 dudes. Just one has blue hair, the other one has red hair and a red goatee.
Well, I think the Drakthir are gonna want war, so we can rely on them.
We started out as neutral, but you know what? It's actually a lot of fun
To fight each other.
I know we just woke up last week, but let's fucking kill each other for nothing now. I've been looking a lot into the Huijen and the Toshi. Trains of thought. Let's murder each
Do you
other.
think we're ever gonna see them do anything? The fucking pandas? Like, come on.
No.
Let them do something. We'll let one of them do something.
No.
Not G. I mean, come on now.
Isa is going to sit in, at least she gets to live in the what's it called? The embassy. I don't know where G is. I think he's digging a ditch somewhere.
I mean, they probably have
keeping my hands busy.
They probably have an embassy in Orgrimmar, but as you said, it's probably a ditch.
Yeah. And if he's there, he doesn't sit as sassily as Isa does. So who really won? I didn't see his goofy ass on the ship in BFA.
He was under the fucking ship. They were dragging him in the water by a rope. Before we get out of here, we are running a contest, so if you would like to enter...
We will not say anything to the many entrants who have come in. But if you are worried about losing, don't. Give a submission, and who knows what'll happen.
Yeah, you could win a prize. Just send a picture. Send a picture that you think is related to Pride or Pride Mountain or Ham City. It's literally just a picture of your character. Like, we really don't care.
Yes.
Send it anywhere. Send it to our email at do not relent pod at gmail.com. Join our Discord at do not relent.com. You can tweet it at us. You can text Aaron at, let me get his phone number pulled up here.
You can win a $30 voucher for anything online or the Prismatic Bauble toy. Do not let this, once again, I'm shaking you, I'm grabbing you by the shoulders. Do not let this opportunity pass you by.
I will hand you 250k gold that you will buy a bauble with. If that sounds appealing to you, just send a submission anyway. Time's running out. This is for Pride. This is for the gays, the theys, and the allies. Also, if you still want a beta code, email me at navarracoffin@gmail.com. NAVARRA coffin@gmail.com. Still got it. And with that, it's time for our top 2 bottom boot medium moot. Aaron, what do you got?
Well, unfortunately, I do have a medium moot.
Medium moot.
Medium moot.
Thanks to Blizzard's very gracious, wonderful boosting of all the bronze received in Pandaria Remix, I have finally achieved my goal of getting all of the transmog for cloth and all of the mounts. Yay, we did it.
What's next?
Nothing! That's what makes it medium. I have logged in as Bloopert. Bloopert has begun his journey in there just to say that I leveled up a dragon. Every day is another mistake. I'm like, ugh, I really need to invest and find something else to do in there, or else I don't know what's going to go down.
Yeah, Blizzard, do something to entice us again. Come on.
Yeah, come on. I've got a short attention span. I did it. I've done all the things I want to do in that one. Plunderstorm 2, let's spin it up.
You got to get me back into MOP. I don't even have all this stuff, and I'm like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, really, it's fine. Especially because a lot of the things, you figure when TWW comes out, it's like, you can do Silly Billy flying right from the start. Which means, like, 3/4 of the mounts I got are nothing. I'm never going to see this rhino again, or this big alligator guy.
Right?
Anywho, yay, woo, spinning my little flag. Slidewhistle, what you got?
I also got a medium moot.
Medium.
Medium out.
While I was playing Habbo Hotel, Immune showed me a picture of the War Within zones laid over Dragonflight zones. So you can get like a size scale comparison. And it was interesting, very interesting. So the zones are smaller, not by much, but still maybe like a large chunk smaller. And I'm just thinking like dragon flying isn't going anywhere, right? And so these zones we're gonna be able to go through them pretty fast, I feel like. But then I was like, well, a lot of the Dragonflight zones, like Azure Span, are like pretty bare in things that you're doing anyway.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it being small with Dragonflight isn't necessarily a bad thing to me, because a lot of Dragonflight was kind of just big for no reason.
Big for the reason of Dragonflight being a thing, like the dragon flying being a thing.
Yeah, like it was like for like a wow factor of wow, like look at how you can and like it was impressive. I'm just a little worried like now, like am I gonna be like getting from point A to point B too fast? Is it a bad thing? I don't think so. And that's why it's medium moon. I really don't know how to. I'm kind of like we'll see. I should do more beta testing and get in there and find out, but you know.
They might do that thing where, you know how in the other non-dragon Isle zones, they scale dragon flying speed down? Maybe it's the same there, so that you're technically dragon flying, but you don't fly across it as fast as you would, say, the Azure Span?
That's true. And do you think are we going to keep the vigor boost, or is that just a dragon flight area thing? Because that kind of came out later, right?
Yeah. Will you pull up your favorite slippery dragon?
Is that why we don't have it in Mop Mix?
So it's because it's Dragonflight thing, right? Or you can do it in Stormwind, right?
And also, I should say, they said it's coming back.
Oh,
they did confirm that finding glyphs is coming back. So I guess you just gotta earn it again.
Oh, yeah, they can change the speed and pace of which you get glyphs, so they can slow us down. It's becoming more of a top toot, but we gotta see it in practice first. Immune, what you got?
Well, you see, I also have a medium moot.
Very, very medium.
3M.
Yeah, so it's honestly kind of similar to Aaron's for the first part, that I got all of the some remix specific mounts unlocked, and my desire to really do anything else has kind of waned. even with the extra bronze, I'm like, I should do more than just my daily stuff. But then I realized that like just doing the daily scenario raid dungeon, I feel like it still takes a few days of that to get one of the big non-remix mounts. And I'm like, do I care that much? I probably should, because it's way easier to do that than to actually farm the things. So that's why it's a media move, because I'm like, now it feels like work. And I'm like, I don't want it to feel like work.
The minute it feels like work, you bounce out. You know, the Plunderstorm babies taught me, don't play something just to play it if you don't like it. Play something else you love. How about Hotel?
Yeah, I mean, that's you, baby. But the other hard part of my media move is that like I am to the point where I'm like, I don't know what to spend the rest of my Trader's Tendies on. I'm like, I want all these things still. I'm still in that boat.
Wait, you haven't bought anything?
Trader's Tenders?
Wait,
You've been holding on
what?
this whole time?
Yeah, what are you talking about? You haven't bought anything?
No, I've bought things. I'm just down to like a few now, and I'm like, I don't know what to freeze or what to spend the rest of my tenders on. I still have a few more appearances. I could buy a few more appearances of the summer set, and I guess that's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
Wait, what, appearances being like the individual parts, or like
the sets?
whole sets?
The individual parts, because they're different, right?
You gotta.
Okay,
can you
fair.
please give me an estimate of how many tenders you have right now? Just give me a ballpark.
Like 500 or 600, I think.
Oh, God, I wish.
I have 15.
I have
1
10.
5.
10.
Well, I mean, I've been holding off because I will be in that range after I buy all the things I want, and it scares me because I haven't been like near 0 tenders in a long time. But I guess there hasn't been like a trader's post like this where I've been like, I want most of these things in a while.
You need to enter a scientific study where they study willpower, because I don't know how you didn't just jam your button 8 times in a row to buy like anything. Like, there's so much good shit.
I mean, like, it's a me problem. It becomes a detriment when, like, if I have too many choices, it stresses me out, and then I forget about it, and then I'm like, oh, I should have done something. So, you know.
Speaking of doing something, these people courageously log in every single month and hand us a little bit of money for a lot of bit of content. I'm talking about our $5 a month patrons. They include Ahoy Vince, NSYNC / Drag Race, Azar, and Digital Dave, asking Growlina to say, for the Horde. Mitch wants to remind everyone that Rathian isn't daddy, he's a literal child. Crucifix, the new patron. Mike D.
Sporkle MC.
I was saying, I reached out to ask if it was the Sporkle MC. No response as of yet, but Mike, let me know. Saracen Hawk, Chris M, Kick Puncher, Jerome, Drew, the 760 Russo Druid, Adorno.
To make a long fucking story short, I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass.
Losing the Patience, Gershie, Super Squirt Day, Calcus, waiting for pre-patch. Also, I just want to say Calcus runs a very nice horror discussion podcast called Horror Joy. I believe you can listen to it on any of your podcasting applications, but I know it's on Spotify. A big fan of academical words and Jason the Killer Man? Give it a listen. Huzzah! Johnny's Friday is saved. Wooly, Slidewhistle, Secret Stalker, tee-hee-hee. Adam N. Vanderlyle, and Will, a.k.a. Tyre, Trade Chat's fallen father.
Bum ba bum 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 bum. Don't forget, this is probably your last chance to enter the Pride of Proudmoore contest. When's our next one? Maybe they have another week. Well,
no, they do not. You have to get it in by noon of the 27th. That is noon of a week from today.
You're correct. Yeah, the end of the month. I thought it was the 13th. It's the 20th? Holy moly. Get it in by then. Just send us a picture. If you're on the fence like, I don't know if I'm going to win. It's a random draw. We're going to just spin a wheel. Who cares? You can do that by emailing us at donotrelenttpod@gmail.com. You can go to our Discord at donotrelentt.com. You can do a lot of things. You know? Just do them. What about you guys? Where are you at?
Well, you can find me, Alex, or Immunization on Twitter at New Era Alex, or on Blue Sky at Immunization.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at TheBigAcheesy on Twitter.com. And you can read... Oh my god, that was going to be a very old callback. You can watch me play Videograms at twitch.tv/AaronDNR.
All right, see you guys later. Hit it, Commander Linden!
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.